Back now at 8:37 with today's health. A new study out this morning reveals that girls in the U.S. are entering puberty at earlier ages than they have in the past, some as young as 7 years old. Dr. Iva Horn is a pediatrician with Children's Medical Center in Washington, D.C. Dr. Horn, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so this study included 1,239 girls of various races. It found that at 7 years old, 10% of children who are white, 23% of children who are black, non-Hispanic, and 14% of Hispanic girls had attained what's called breast stage 2, which is a sign of puberty.
Yes.
As a pediatrician, as shocking as this is not surprising to you. Why?
It's not surprising because we're seeing the trend in our practices, and I think that this is consistent with a previous study, but it's telling us that unlike the previous study in 1997, more girls are developing at the age of 7 and 8.
One of the chief researchers on the study is calling this a warning flag because, and the findings cite the most probable cause for this is this rising obesity epidemic in our children.
Absolutely.
Now, why is that? Why is there this link?
Because girls who are obese have increased hormone levels, and particularly they have increase in fat cells, increases hormones. And so these girls who are developing earlier are also having earlier exposure to estrogen, higher levels of estrogen, and studies have shown that link between length of estrogen and breast cancer. So
that, which is, okay, so let's talk about that. We don't want this. We do not want our girls to have puberty early because of this link. Is it a strong link that these girls later in life are more likely to get breast cancer? Is that a strong link?
There is an indication that may be the case. We have to follow these girls longer. This study is just the beginning. We have more work to do, and that's the great thing that the investigators are doing. They are looking at these girls and they're following them over time to see if this early breast development leads to greater risk in the future.
But these investigators don't think obesity is the only explanation. They believe that there are environmental factors.
Absolutely.
Like?
Well, there are chemicals and there are other things that they're not certain of. And
in the environment.
In the environment. And that's why we have to follow these girls over time to really get a better understanding of what this means.
Some parents are going to be worried about all the controversy regarding hormones in milk, because that has been something that was really debated when hormones were allowed to be used in milk production. Are we still gray on this, or is there any greater information that links that as a probable factor in why girls become pubescent early?
This study does not give us more information in that regard. I think what the investigators are doing is following over time, and that's going to give us more information. This is just the beginning, but it's a great beginning for us to learn about what those future causes are.
In addition to being more vulnerable to breast cancer, these children are more likely to be involved in sexual activity at an earlier age because they've been in puberty. So what is the message that we should give parents, first of all, about how to prepare children who are showing these signs for what is to come? What do we say to them? What do we do? What is your advice?
Sure. I mean, when you have a 7-year-old and her body is developing, she still has the mind of a 7-year-old. Just like if you have a 2-year-old and that 2-year-old happens to be tall for their age, you treat them like a 2-year-old. And it's really important that parents continue to treat their children in an age-appropriate way, and that they look at who their children are being exposed to, because especially if kids have older siblings, they may be exposed to older kids and the activities and behaviors of older children, but it's really important to make sure that that 7-year-old remains a 7-year-old.
Bottom line, though, is that this is yet another reason to make sure our children, that we do everything possible to make sure our children deal with obesity, that we don't allow our kids to remain obese if they are. This is a real risk. And when we look at the environmental factors, it's hard to know what to do, but I'm sure a lot of parents are going to be looking for some ways to protect their girls from this kind of problem.
Well, absolutely. And parents should really talk to their girls about what's going on in their body at an age-appropriate level, but then also encourage their their child to have a positive image of themselves and positive self-esteem, because that's going to go a long way in the future as they're developing maybe sooner than their friends are.
Hopefully we'll get more information on what may be causing this, Dr. Iva Horn. Thank you so much.
You.
It's great to see you.